Not long after posting my last theory, which involved the armor being an Imperial spy under the control of the Remnants, and more specifically Moff Gideon, I read some of your comments and put some thinking in, and I think I've managed to predict what's going to happen in the next episode of The Mandalorian. This theory treads back on ground I covered in my last one, with the armor being a spy. And since there's many similarities between these theories, and this theory relies on the other theory being true, I'd recommend watching that first, because this theory will try less to convince you that the armor is a spy, and try more to convince you that the Mandalorian pirates are allied with the Imperial Remnants. So, to recap, in Episode 7 of Season 3 of The Mandalorian, while exploring Mandalore, the reconnaissance squad conveniently are in the direct path of a Mandalorian pirate ship. After meeting this pirate crew, they realize they're Mandalorian, and after discussing with them on their ship during a feast, the pirates bring up a touchy subject, which is bound to cause tension within the Mandalorians on board. The pirates on this Mandalorian ship have been living on this glass planet for a while, without many supplies or many anything, to be honest, and some have grown sick. So before the crew enters the underbelly of Mandalore, the armor requests that she take up the sick Mandalorians up to the main ship to receive medical aid. So she flies off, and the reconnaissance crews only escape and prepares to board the flagship of the Mandalorian's fleet. Now, there's many pieces of evidence that suggest that the armor is in fact an Imperial spy, and even though I covered most of it in the last theory, I'm going to cover some more here that I didn't cover in that one. When on the ship, the armor's asked about their affiliation with Death Watch. They're extremely vague with their answer, not saying yes or not saying no. They just simply give a comment on Death Watch's situation.
We were hidden on the moon of Concordia.
Are you Death Watch?
Death Watch exists no longer. It's shattered into many warring factions.
Now, assuming that it is most likely that Death Watch would become loyal into the Imperial Remnant due to their affiliation with Maul and just their overall ideology. But anyway, that's enough for us talking about how the armor's a spy, because you may as well go watch the last one. There's not really a point in watching this one if you haven't watched that one, because unless you're set that the Mandalorian armor is in fact a spy. But anyway, linking back to the question they asked about the surrendering of Bo-Katan, this question is bound to create some tension between the Mandalorians, because it's their main reason for their distrust and hatred for each other. This could have been a deliberate poke at Bo-Katan to try to create tension between the two tribes who are meant to be working together. This may have worked, because not long after, Paz Vizsla gets in an argument with Aswell over a chess game and begin to fight over the tribal ways and the rules that they follow. I have a feeling that these guys are definitely. Their appearance seems very coincidental and contrived and just convenient overall. How as soon as they landed down onto Mandalore, after barely any walk, this ship seems to just come directly towards them, even if they're not Imperial spies. It is established that Moff Gideon is extremely in the know about all secrets and knows everything and has surveillance everywhere. But if that's the case, how would the Imperial remnants on Mandalore not know about the ship floating about, or basically just their involvement overall?
Captain, secrets are my stock in trade. I hear whispers from one end of the galaxy to another, and never a word of Thrawn.
It's extremely out of character and unlikely that Moff Gideon would let these people just roam about, or would leave them unharmed. Maybe what happened was that these people were roaming around and they found Moff Gideon, or Moff Gideon found them, and offered them food, supplies, weapons, as long as they proved their allegiance to the Empire and spied for them. Or maybe it's what's more likely is that they're a setup made to look like pirates, but not actually, just to lure them in the caves so they can trap the Mandalorians and finish them off once and for all. Now, it's hard to tell because these may just be scratches, but on the middle Mandalorian's helmet, there's shapes similar to the handprint put on the Death Watch's helmets when they were under the allegiance of Maul, perhaps suggesting that they had allegiance to Death Watch, and more importantly, that they're now under the control of the Empire. This ploy could be to get people on board the ship as by acting sick so that they can take over the flagship from the inside. It's very convenient the armor leaves the reconnaissance crew right before anything bad happens. And this could be because she was briefed and knows what's going to happen and knows when they're going to go into the mines. So she takes the Mandalorians' only ship off the planet and takes up a group of Imperial affiliated Mandalorians up to the ship to take it over from the inside. And when the armor is flying them up, they don't actually look that sick, they look relieved almost. Happy, once smiling at the right. This could be because they were pretending, or because they're happy, or they're relieved the plan went the way it was supposed to. And it seems like a very Jon Favreau thing to do, to have Moff Gideon reveal this to the Mandalorian, and then it cut the armor and this crew of Mandalorians infiltrating the ship and taking over from the inside out. Because I imagine in the next episode there's going to be a massive space battle, and during this there'll be infantry combat in the corridors and the rooms of the Mandalorian flagship, linking back to the markings and the scratches on the middle Mandalorian's helmet. This suggesting that they have allegiance to Death Watch also means that they would have allegiance to Moff Gideon, as Moff Gideon has the spikes of Death Watch helmets, perhaps trying to suggest that they are together and in league. Also, the armor has spikes just like Moff Gideon, meaning that this could also be suggest that they are together as well. Gideon is extremely smart and has eyes everywhere. He likes to know everything that is happening all over the galaxy, with the New Republic, with the Mandalorians, with just overall anything, even with his other Imperial warlords. He spies and he schemes about them. He has spies everywhere, and this episode is called The Spies, meaning that since we definitely know that Elia Kane is definitely one of the spies, we don't know who the other spies are. And if it's only one spy, maybe being the armor, or the other spies being those Mandalorians, I think the episode title definitely suggests that there is more than one, and that it's someone we trust or someone we know in the Creed. Now, even if the armor is not a spy, these people could be spies pretending to be sick, and once the armor takes them up, they stop acting sick and attack her, and then try to take over the ship after managing to convince the armor to take them back up. However, there's just so much evidence suggesting that the armor is an Imperial spy. For example, even the little things like Praetorian guards having the same type of helmet as the armor, with the line in the middle being similar to hers. Not much of other Mandalorians have anything like that in the middle, meaning that this stands out a lot more. Or I think it's likely that this is something Jon Favreau would do. Having these Mandalorians that could be super commandos, just not in the super commando armor, infiltrate the ship could be an interesting plot point. And since someone has to be the spies in the episode, because the episode's called Spies, it's hard to point out anyone else that could be the spies, meaning that the most likely option is these people. Though a downside is it's also a bit too obvious that these people would be spies out of everyone, because if the spies have to be someone, the most likely candidate is them. It can't really be anyone else, maybe except the armor. Another small thing I noticed is when the armor is taking them up, she speaks very official. It's almost like she has the voice of an Imperial officer, where she always pronounces a word with a perfect accent and perfect pronunciation, and just overall no slang, no nothing. Very, very distinguished and Imperial, and most importantly military. Like even when telling the flagship that there's medical aid needed for the passengers aboard her ship, she speaks very official. Like, the guy's a bit shocked that's listening, because he doesn't expect, due to Death Watch having very informal discussion and call-outs, it just takes him off guard.
Come in, Fleet Command.
We read you?
Prepare to receive rescued survivors in need of medical attention.
Copy, Gauntlet.
I'm extremely certain that the armor, even if not Imperial, has ulterior motives, and the people on board that pirate ship have to be spies. I'm not going to take any other answer. They're definitely spies. They're probably spies. But reading some of your comments, Rexky says she has to be the other spy. Like, who the heck made Gideon's Beskar armor? The only person that knows how to make it is the armor. My response being, that's a good point. It could be one of the Mandalorians. They have an Imperial remnant control. We know that they have a large amount of Mandalorians affiliated with the remnants, assuming all the troopers we see in Season 3, Episode 7 are in fact Mandalorian super commandos and not just random stormtroopers in Beskar. Jothan Gar says, I firmly believe the armor is evil and working for the Empire after that whole Bo-Katan take off your mask thing. I think we're going to find out she was helping Moff Gideon get all the Mandalorians from different tribes in one place so he can drop the hammer on them. Also, it's super suspicious he took the survivors up to the fleet just before the big fight. My response being, yeah, it was very convenient that she hopped out before the reconnaissance crew was ambushed by Imperial affiliated Mandalorian super commandos. Maybe the survivors on the surface and the armor working together to lure them, and then she took up a group of Imperial spies to board the ship. Geek Robot says she gives off cultish vibes in the way she talks and interacts with her followers. And I said, yeah, definitely, she gives off an ordained teacher vibe, while also giving off creepy and evil vibes at the same time. Geek Robot then replied, the way she let Bo remove her helmet is a sign how malleable the rules of the children of the Watch really are. Anything can be changed for her agenda and narrative. I responded to Geek Robot by saying, yeah, I definitely think she's in league with those random survivors who have been bumped into. Now she's taking them for medical aid, but actually it is all deception to get some Imperial affiliated Mandalorian super commandos on board the Mandalorian fleet flagship so they can take it from the inside. Beef, who is definitely not Scottish lugs, says the Imperials probably knew what to wait at the Forge because it's their most important place, but yeah, the armor's evil. I responded, also thinking of those random guys they ran into are Imperial affiliated Mandalorian super commandos, and they were just pretending to be wounded. No, she has a group of Imperials flying out with her to board the Mandalorian's fleet flagship, and probably in the next episode they're going to try to take over the ship from the inside. Beef says, yeah, I agree. Why would they want to be acting wounded in the ship before they land when it's only the armor with them in the ship? But yeah, overall, those are the comments, everything, the theory. I'm pretty certain that they're spies. What else can they be? It's very convenient they ran into them. Overall, it's just a lot of things, a lot of evidence are pointing towards it. I imagine in the next episode, Moff Gideon's going to reveal the armor's intentions, and it'll be up to Axe Wolves to save the gang, because he's now escaped by himself to tell the survivors. I don't really know how he's going to get off the planet. Maybe he's going to have to build a ship or find a way to get a transmitter. I imagine Grogu's going to do some force magic stuff to escape everything and save Din. If not, if Grogu just is a side character, it'd be kind of sad, because I want to see him do something and save it, save his boy. But anyway, do you think anything I've said today is plausible, or is it just bullshit I'm speaking right now?